Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rose Red 79. Happy birthday to you. Hey everybody, it's Shapy Poo, and yeah, back with the video that fast. We're on a roll. And I'm gonna keep this going plumb into October. I know half a year's like, oh, sure, y'all gotta see that to believe. You'll see it. Now, today we're diving into Cabin in the Woods channel in the world of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the Yeti. Now, before we dive in, I just want to point out a few things about Bigfoot footage that I've pointed out in the past, but I want to refresh everybody's mind. Bigfoot footage. The further Bigfoot is away from the camera, the more of the Bigfoot you get to see. If he's far enough away, you get to see the full body. But the closer the Bigfoot gets to the camera, the more obstruction happens. And if he's real close to the camera, there's going to be trees and bushes and everything around him. There is no clear Bigfoot footage. None whatsoever. It's always compromised by weather, foliage, obstructions, houses, man-made, or cliffs, rocks. Always something blocking the camera to the Bigfoot. Always. There is no footage that exists. Bigfoot footage. Red flags. They indicate poor quality camera or a shaky camera. Something obstructs the view of Bigfoot. Always darkness, weather, plants, trees, foliage, rocks, landscape, you name it. The only time the Bigfoot's whole body is in the camera is when it's far away, and the closer it gets, the more obstruction there is of the Bigfoot right there in high definition. Not one piece. That's alarming all in itself. As many cameras as they are, come on, pal. But the reason I bring this to you, I guarantee you that the footage this guy shows checks off a lot of those boxes. You remember the Todd Standing video I did? Where it's either filmed on a potato camera that's low quality, or whoever's holding the camera is shaky and you can't see anything, or it's just a poor quality camera. There's never high definition camera of a Bigfoot, its whole body right there for everybody to see. Because unfortunately, Bigfoot doesn't exist, and that's why they can't prove it. Well, so there's some footprints. I don't want to see the footprints. You show me what left those footprints. You're the one saying Bigfoot's running around. Let's get into this thing. As I said in the last video, I supported Cabin in the Woods. I even was subbed to the channel a while back. I was like, man, I really like what this guy's doing. He's actually taking the evidence and he's analyzing it, and he's putting his thoughts into it, and he's showing you why he feels this is Bigfoot footage. Okay, fair enough. But you knew a boat was coming. But I noticed that lately, especially the last few videos, he goes in completely biased. He's not there to say, okay, what is this we're looking at? He's there to say, this is why this is a Bigfoot, is what we're looking at, and that's fair enough. But when you go in completely biased, and it's going to blow your mind when I show you the footage that he's claiming a Bigfoot. You're going to look at it, and in 5 seconds you're like, I know what that is. But you know what? Let's see what Cabin in the Woods has to say. I'm so pumped for this.
In 2013, a couple vacationing on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, filmed a massive upright figure moving through the thick woods.
That's a grizzly bear. Well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. Hey, how about hitting that like? I wish it was that easy. But that most certainly, as soon as I saw it, I knew what that was. That is 100% a grizzly bear. And we're going in depth here, boys. Hit that hype and like and stuff too. Matter of fact, push all the buttons down there if you want. I don't care what you do. I'm just kidding. Do it right now. And matter of fact, I'll sit here and watch. Go ahead. They're right down there. Look at all those pretty buttons. You push them and they got little different colors and little sparklies. And it's, oh God.
It was huge, gray, covered in hair, and they swore it didn't look or act like a bear. But here's the most chilling part. When I studied this footage frame by frame, what I discovered genuinely gave me a sick feeling in my stomach. Later in the video, I'll tell you about my own Bigfoot encounter, which, although it happened 11 years after this footage was shot, ties in with this account very closely. So as I said, in August 2013, this couple was on vacation on Vancouver Island. They were driving this rather obscure back road toward a tiny hamlet called Port Renfrew.
During our trip, my wife and daughter and I drove this same road, and we also visited Port Renfrew. And I can tell you that this particular road is small and narrow and lined with dense forest on either side.
So this couple in 2013 stopped randomly along the roadside beside this small creek.
He's building an atmosphere.
They had agreed to take an impromptu hike into the forest. There were no hiking trails there or anything, but this particular couple loved hiking, and apparently walking into uncharted forest wasn't that unusual for them. And they had chosen that spot because they were planning to follow the creek bed into the forest to avoid getting lost.
For all you hikers out there, that's actually a good idea to follow a creek. Because if you follow it in, you can go for 10 miles, and all you got to do is turn around and follow it back out. That would, keep you from getting lost as long as the creek don't branch off and you go, a different direction or whatever. But yeah, always do that if you can. Follow the creek. It's a good way to keep your bearings, because if you follow the creek, you will find your way right back out.
They had walked only about 200 feet into the tree line along this creek bed when they suddenly heard branches breaking up ahead. They looked 75 to 100 feet further into the forest in the direction they were going, and that's when they saw this large, upright figure. The figure was standing bipedally, they said, and swaying back and forth. The couple said it looked like it had a cone-shaped head and broad, bulky shoulders. But here's the really intriguing part. They filmed it for over 2 minutes.
I just want to quickly point out a few things here. First off, that's a grizzly bear. I can tell by the color of it, what it looks like, just the thickness of the fur, hair, whatever you call it. The colors, the gray and the brown, that is a grizzly bear. That's firstly. Secondly, they're saying this thing is standing up bipedally. Yeah, the foliage that's in front of the Bigfoot that you have to look through to see the Bigfoot, you can't tell what position that thing's in at all. You can't tell that it's standing up by looking at that little spot. That's what blows me away about this guy, Cabin in the Woods, and Pod Standing, and all of them. They'll take a pixel and say, oh, that little black pixel, that's an eyeball. And the reason I point that out, because later on, that foliage, as mentioned, I'm going to debunk the snot out of Cabin in the Woods.
Later, the man uploaded a follow-up video to their channel, Gulf Island Rock, describing the same details that we see in the clip and adding a lot of additional context. They stressed that in their opinion, this was not a bear.
Wendy was ahead of me, and she turns around and she points, and I looked up into the distance. Way in the distance, it was about 75 to 100 feet ahead of us. You could see something in the distance. At first we thought it was a bear, but it seemed more bipedal. So it seemed more upright. It appeared to have kind of a conish type head.
Luckily for us, I screenshot a wide shot of the supposed Bigfoot in the bush. The reason I bring that up is the woman, the lady, who I guess is a little over 5 feet tall. I doubt she's 6 foot tall, but we'll say she's 5.5 feet tall. That means the camera is, unless she's holding it over her head or something, the camera is probably around a little over 5 feet off the floor, the foliage and the growth, the undergrowth. I don't know how tall the lady was that took the camera work, but if she was standing in front of the camera, there's our wide shot of the Bigfoot, she would be about this tall as she walked toward the Bigfoot. That means the Bigfoot ain't standing bipedally on their hind legs. They're low to the ground. Or they're in a hole or at a cliff or something, because that is low to the ground. That's more like a bear. This right here shows that the ground looks fairly level. So whatever this is, it's not standing up. It's low to the ground because the ground's not far down there. The only thing that would explain it is if there's our point of view, the Bigfoot would have to be like down below the heel and the upper body sticking up to be that low to the ground, or it's a bear. So if you look straight on to this supposed Bigfoot behind the bush, they're saying that's its upper torso and it's standing on its legs, which would mean if a Bigfoot's, let's say 8-9 feet tall, then 4 foot of that Bigfoot's in a hole because the upper torso is literally on the foliage floor pretty much. Unless you go over there and there's a bank or a dip. It just don't make sense to me. They're saying that's a torso. That might be a torso of a grizzly bear because that would be the right height off the ground. That doesn't look like it's bipedal. So I don't even know where they're getting that from.
By the way, if you're enjoying this type of content and you're tired of the shallow cookie cutter Bigfoot videos out there, then hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more truly paradigm shifting evidence.
This man says paradigm shifting evidence while simultaneously showing a grizzly bear that he says is a Bigfoot. That's all you need to know, folks. Your validity is slowly beginning to tank.
So, what are the most compelling details about this footage? Well, first of all, we've got what looks very much like a conical head. The couple who captured the footage makes note of this, and it's pretty clear at certain points in the footage when you examine and scrub back and forth through these areas. You can see that sloping, cone-shaped head and the rather flat, somewhat horizontal forehead, very reminiscent of gorilla cranium shapes. We've also got what looks like a thickly muscled back and what really strongly appears to be a shoulder with the upper portion of what would be the creature's right arm hanging down out of view.
That is not an upper shoulder. Look very carefully because later on I'm going to completely debunk this with evidence. I don't understand where he's getting these details from. Well, it's conical shaped. Now I know where you're getting that from, but you got to remember the foliage in the foreground. The foliage in the foreground dictates the shape of whatever's behind it. I think that makes sense. Yes, I'll do an animation showing you what I mean. But that is a grizzly bear sitting on its butt. And the only reason it looks like it's cone-shaped is because the foliage is cone-shaped. Do your beautiful animations. The tiny leaves in the foreground are causing pareidolia. So I took the time to cut out all the little twigs and limbs and leaves to show you what it's shaped like. It is shaped like a cone shape. The gaps in the limbs would make anything look like a Bigfoot. Multiple parts of a grizzly bear look like the top of a Bigfoot's head, just like that right there. Even a bear's shoulders looks like a Bigfoot. Now, I'm going to take this bear and put it behind the same bushes. Look at this. Tell me this right here doesn't look like a Bigfoot moving behind a bush because of the cone-shaped foreground cutout in the leaves and the limbs. Looks like a Bigfoot to me. Where he drew the nose and mouth, look here, that's just sticks and twigs, making it look like that, and shadows. So I took the time to cut it out up close, the head, and turn it dark black. Now I'm going to take this grizzly bear, and I'm going to put it behind the dark black foreground foliage. Let's see what we get. Wow, I can see a Bigfoot. Comment below what you see, but I definitely see one. So let's play Is It Bigfoot? Yeah. Let's play Name That Cryptid. Name that Bigfoot, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. What animal is behind the foliage? Comment below. Now let me unveil it for you. Looky there, it's a deer. Guess the Bigfoot, folks. I put something else in a certain position behind this bush. What is it? It's a bear, grizzly bear on its hind legs, standing up. Now guess this one. Look very closely. What do you think it is? Come on, folks. It's another grizzly bear. Now this one is going to be hard to guess. What position is this bear in? It looks like a Bigfoot to me. Oh, it's just a cute grizzly bear. Here's another one. Come on, folks. What position is the grizzly bear in? Still looks like a Bigfoot, though. Boom.
There's also a point at which you can see what really looks a lot like facial details. If you look closely as the creature rotates here, in the context of this cone-shaped ape-like head, you can see what looks like a chin. You can see what may well be a nose, wide and flat, as is often reported in Sasquatch sightings.
Let's do a deep dive on his pareidolia drawing here. Now, this is a grizzly bear, make no mistake about it, but let's look at what pareidolia can do. This is nothing more than pareidolia. He drew the Bigfoot's head, but what that really is, after I overlay 2 frames, you can clearly see that what he thinks is a mouth and eyes are nothing but sticks, limbs, small limbs.
What I'm most struck by when I look at this is that not only does it look very much like a face on an ape-like conical head, but that face strongly resembles the face of Paddy, the subject of the famous Patterson-Gimlin film. This is an undoctored frame, simply enhanced using the original visual information captured on Roger Patterson's camera.
Yep, Cabin in the Woods says this looks like Paddy. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Look at this. That is... You can't make this stuff up. I love my job. I tell you, it's a pretty good gig. Off the cap. Cabin in the Woods. Come on now. You know you're being silly here. How he got Paddy's face out of that ball of pixels in the bush there is beyond me. I don't see eyeballs, nor a nose or a mouth. He sees a little thing, tiny little line, and he's like, oh, well, that's a mouth. There's no way that's a branch that's just obstructing the bear. You know what? Let's take a look at those branches and see if that is indeed the mouth that he's pointing out. Do your shape animation. So I just went ahead and cut a Bigfoot shape out of this big black box, and what I'm going to do is put a bear under it in different positions. Here's our grizzly bear that we're going to pretend is a Bigfoot. Put the Bigfoot shape over it, move the bear, add a little bit of leaf shadow and foliage shadows. Look at that. Wow, it does look like a Bigfoot, although that's clearly a grizzly bear moving around. That's exactly what's going on here.
And this is a common feature of purported Sasquatch sightings. When they turn to look back, they don't really have a neck, so they don't turn at the head. Their entire body turns, and you can see that clearly happening here.
No, this is footage on a loop that you altered to make it go over and over and over again. That's what you did. So Cabin in the Woods here, he shows you some altered footage here. Shows it turning and swaying. He says, you know, that's what Bigfoots do. They're like chimpanzees and stuff, how they sit there and turn. But the footage is doctored. It keeps repeating. It does that movement once, and then they just simply keep redoing it over and over. See, that's a problem. How many times did it actually do it? That could be a bear moving its big butt behind the foliage.
But there's a detail that I didn't notice right away as I was scrubbing through this footage. And frankly, this is the thing that unsettled me the most. If you look over here on the left-hand portion of the screen as I scrub through, you can see movement of the leaves and foliage. But the trouble is that movement is farther away from the main body of the creature than it has any right to be if this were a bear.
Let's look at the hand that he pointed out. Yeah, we can clearly see a hand here, can't we? I'm just kidding. You can't see anything in this footage in that spot at all. Yeah, you can see a flicker of hair and different color hair, but you can't tell that's a hand.
And as I scrub back and forth here, to me, this looks very much like a very long left arm reaching out to the left of the creature's body into the foliage, agitating these leaves and branches.
There's a very clear, visible patch of white here that may well be the creature's hand draped down.
Now, this guy is so brilliant that he can look through the foliage into this little gap in the foliage and see this little flash of color that's coming from the animal. And he can tell you right then and there that Bigfoot has his arm outstretched just picking the foliage. Just from that little patch of what you can see there. That's how good his Bigfoot hunting skills are. Moving on.
And again, scrubbing through, even though this is very obscured by the foliage,
There's a strong impression that there is a long left arm draped out to the side here. This is the sort of limb length and position that a bear would never emulate.
I mean, if the bear was sideways and moving its back legs as well.
the figure had this gray or silvery coat. Vancouver Island has black bears. Some people say that there are grizzlies in a few areas, but officially, grizzlies aren't a listed species on Vancouver Island. Now, a quick interjection here, because I just know that someone's going to try to start an argument with me in the comments section about the presence of grizzly bears on Vancouver Island. For the record, I'm not saying that grizzly bears never set foot on the island. I'm just saying that they're rare.
Rare. Grizzlies, huh? Grizzlies are rare in this area, even though they have been spotted in that area. And we know grizzlies do exist, and we know whatever this is, it's identical to the color of a lot of grizzly bears. A lot of them, especially in that area. When you say rare, it just brings up something that I don't even think you understand yourself. See, we got footage upon footage of grizzly bears right out in the middle of the open in beautiful high definition camera. What do we not have? Bigfoot, that's right. And not only that, how rare are Bigfoots? Big feet, how rare are they? I would argue they're more rare than grizzly bears. Would you not? Comment below. So I googled it. No, Vancouver Island does not have a permanent grizzly bear population, but the individual bears, particularly young males, have been sighted on the northern part of the island after swimming from the BC mainland in 2024. A rare sighting of a female grizzly and her two cubs were also recorded, raising the possibility of a new self-sustaining grizzly population on the island. Also, sightings have become more frequent in recent years with a significant increase in the past decade.
While we were visiting, locals even told us that occasionally grizzly bears will swim across from the mainland to the island's northern tip, although they never stay very long and always in very small numbers. Now, the island's northern area, where the grizzly bears exclusively hang out while they're visiting Vancouver Island, is nowhere near Port Renfrew.
These two locations aren't that far away, as you can see right here. He talks like they're plumb across the planet or something. Like grizzly bears can't go that far down there.
And that's the only point I wanted to make. I'm not saying grizzlies never set foot on Vancouver Island, just that when they do so, it's rare, and it's temporary, and it's nowhere near Port Renfrew.
Oh yeah? Well, Bigfoots are even more rare than grizzly bears. And that's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I need a break.
Black bears are absolutely the predominant bear species there. And black bears are, predictably enough, almost always black. Sometimes they come in other colors like cinnamon, but gray is extremely unusual. The couple, who had seen many bears before in their various hiking adventures, said that this looked considerably bigger than any black bear, even one standing on its hind legs, which again, this subject clearly was.
What irritates me the most is he says you can tell that this thing is standing up on its hind legs, yet, like I told you, it's low to the ground. There's no way it's on its hind legs. Period. And if it is, how can you tell by looking through that little hole in the foliage? How? Seriously, how can you?
So the next compelling details about this footage are honestly pretty shocking. The build of the creature suggests squared shoulders and a barrel chest, not the narrow sloping shoulders of a bear standing up. Even grizzly bears standing up, which again, don't live in this area, have narrow shoulders. They don't have this broad bodybuilder bulk to them in their upper body.
You know, if you really look at whatever this is, first off, you can't tell what exact position it's in unless you see something that gives you an idea of what position it would be in. Like a bear's big butt. Now, I know it sounds like I'm trying to make a joke, but I'm not. I can debunk this clip right now because something caught my eye, and once you see it, you kind of can't unsee it. You can literally see the bear's tail. And I'm going to show you an image of a grizzly bear's butt. And we're going to crossfade it to whatever this is in the footage. Prepare to have your mind blown. Now something was nagging at me. He kept saying that spot is the Bigfoot's shoulder. But I knew I'd seen that somewhere before. So I cut it out and said, you know what? I did see this before. And it is exactly what this is. Look, they match perfectly. That is the butt of a grizzly bear. No jokes. Completely debunked. Tell me those aren't identical matching features. I mean, come on guys, what are we doing? I told you, there are levels to this stuff. There's levels to this debunking stuff. Cabin in the Woods, my forte, my expertise doesn't lie in bipedals, Bigfoots, or anything. Yet I just completely debunked this clip. So just imagine how good I am when it comes to paranormal.
Then there's the behavior. The subject remained upright continuously for over 2 minutes as the couple filmed, while gently swaying back and forth. And M.K. Davis has released a great stabilized version of this clip that really highlights that side-to-side oscillation of the subject.
To me, it didn't seem like a bear, and and to her as well, and it disappeared. It just, that's why she stopped videotaping, and once it got out of sight, we got out of sight.
Yeah.
We left fast, and we were quiet. We were very quiet. It didn't hear us, thank God, whatever it was.
Because we didn't know what it was.
We didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
So again, the swaying is a well-documented behavior in known great apes.
That's not swaying. That is a bear's butt wagging, literally.
Next, we've got the ecological plausibility. This area, and again, I can tell you from personal experience, having been there, is a dense, temperate rainforest. It has fairly mild winters, many salmon streams, lots of deer, berries in abundance, and plenty of cover. Exactly the kind of ecosystem where a large omnivorous primate could survive.
And finally, we've got witness credibility. This couple's YouTube channel, Gulf Island Rock, has always been about gardening and beaches and vacations. No Bigfoot agenda before or after this event.
In fact, they've only ever released 2 Bigfoot-related clips. The original footage of this creature and the man's follow-up explanation. Tried to gain fame in the Bigfoot world or exploit the clip in any way. The man's own words, we leave the decision of what this was to you guys.
I've seen this a lot, Cabin in the Woods. Now, they may very well believe this truly is a Bigfoot, right? They may be, ignorant to it. It's a grizzly bear, but that's besides the point. But to say that they didn't do this for attention and stuff, they don't do Bigfoot stuff. Well, let me share with you what's been my knowledge on the paranormal. There'll be somebody that explores, like just dark places. They're not paranormal channels. Yet every now and then they tend to stumble upon something creepy. And that video gets a significant amount more views than their regular stuff. While they don't do it all the time, every now and then they'll throw something in their paranormal because it brings more in and has more people looking at their older stuff. Be like, I wonder if there's any Bigfoot or paranormal stuff in their other clips. There's a reason for everything.
And finally, we've got the duration of the clip. As I said, this is over 2 minutes of sustained behavior, which places this footage into a category far more suggestive and intriguing than the typical fleeting blob squatch visuals. And once again, the common explanation given by skeptics that this was a bear standing on its hind legs doesn't really hold water because of the size, the color, the location, and the duration of this bipedal positioning.
And that's why I unsubscribed to your channel, Cabin in the Woods, because you spew nonsense. It's not a grizzly bear because this thing is standing up bipedally, and this is the last time I'm even going to argue this. You can't tell what position this thing is because we don't see a head. You understand what I'm saying? We don't see a head. So we don't know what position whatever this is until I saw the tail. But that's neither here nor there. You just can't seem to get off how they're rare. Grizzly bears are rare here, so it can't be a grizzly bear, yet how rare is a Bigfoot? You absolute buffoon. Last time I'm arguing about it.
So the next day I investigated the area and I found 2 snapped off trees, one of which was clearly very fresh and still living, covered in green foliage. And while I was in this spot wondering about these trees, I caught this flash of movement. I glanced over and I saw this massive, hulking black shape about 50 meters further ahead.
And here's his Bigfoot footage.
It had moved slightly, so I whipped up my camera and I got a short clip of it, but it didn't move again on video, unfortunately. It was at least 8 feet tall as a rough estimate. It was extremely broad, and in my opinion, it was way too big to be a bear, even a big one. More than anything, it kind of looked like a root ball from a tipped over tree, except that I had definitely seen it move and knew that it was alive.
Pareidolia. There's phase 1 and phase 2, folks, of the Bigfoots. Yeah, I know, that's what you got to deal with a lot of these Bigfoot believers who put out nonsense like this. Hey, why don't you go back to this spot and show us that it wasn't a tree stump? Why don't the other couple that uploaded their footage, why don't they go back to that spot and show us and stand where it was? Cabin in the Woods footage is 30 miles away from the other footage that's in this video. The reason that's important in post-editing is because remember the grizzly bears and the map he showed that they wouldn't be that far south? Well, when it benefits him and his Bigfoot claims, oh look, it's 30 miles away and they saw Bigfoot, so that brings more validity to my film. Well, that's just biased. Cabin in the Woods here, he shows his Bigfoot footage, his Sasquatch footage that's near the same area, give or take 30 or 40 or 50 miles. Shows his footage, which is much worse than the footage we've been looking at throughout this video, and he says it's a Bigfoot. He even points out the face, even though it's a joke. It really is. I didn't see anything in the footage, let alone a Bigfoot. I didn't see, yeah, you could see movement, but it's like 2 pixels. And how he got Bigfoot out of 2 pixels, I'll never know. But that's the kind of person you're dealing with, the Todd Standing type.
But is that all the footage you got? Come on, man. That's the question I always get in some form in the comment section when I talk about my encounter and share the visuals I captured. And honestly, fair enough. You come to this channel, you see a guy who's interested in uncovering the truth about Bigfoot, and his own encounter only involves this short clip and nothing else.
So, yes, I ran away after getting this footage. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Oh, you ran away? Well, that's horrible. I guess we'll never know. I guess it's possible that it's a Sasquatch because we can't debunk it because you didn't get closer. Oh well.
Again, this was only 30 miles or so from the 2013 filming site of the footage I'm showing you here. The same forest corridor, and this shows continuity of Sasquatch activity.
So he scrolls on the map to show how close together the Bigfoot encounters were, but remember, he threw that grizzly bear stuff out saying they were too far away.
Next, let's examine some skeptical explanations for what this could have been, some non-Sasquatch explanations. The first one being some version of it was a bear. We have to completely ignore the fact that there is this visible foliage agitation far to the left of the creature, which, as I pointed out, I believe, based on the flashes of white we can see through the leaves, is a long extended arm.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the validity of Cabin in the Woods channel just took a big nosedive.
Now, to be fair, Vancouver Island is a small portion of Western Canada, but the main point here is that this color variation of the black bear species is rare. For this clip to be a black bear, it would have to be a rare glacier phase morph. It would have to be unusually large. It would have to stand bipedally for over 2 minutes, which isn't consistent with typical bear behavior.
So it's not bear behavior, right? That's what he's saying. Okay, then what about Bigfoot behavior? Why don't you explain to us the behaviors of the Sasquatch? Go ahead. We'll wait. You've never recorded a Sasquatch in the wild up close. How do you know how they behave? You're going by chimps and monkeys and different things. That's not a Sasquatch. That's not a Bigfoot. How do you know how Bigfoots behave? To say, well, it's not a bear because only Bigfoots behave this way, yet you've never recorded a Bigfoot in the wild moving around. It's nonsense. Comment below your thoughts. This is all that I can take from this channel. So Cabin in the Woods, I think I thoroughly debunked you. You're welcome. Now guys, comment your thoughts on what's going on here. If you like the video, hit like and hype and all that stuff. You don't have to, but if you like it, and I think we did a pretty good job here. Now, I wanted to bring up something real quick, guys. See, Halloween is next month, and you know how I love October and uploading. I've been working on a video right now for 2 months up to now. Already I've worked on it for 2 months. Animation, scary. It's like a slasher movie meets a detective movie, a mystery with comedy, scares. And I gotta say, I worked hard on it, so whew, man, hope you guys like it because it's by far the most ambitious animations I've ever done. Like, I put some crazy effort into it. I even made a whole neighborhood of animation. Like, if I'm in one house in the animation, I have other houses throughout the window. You can look out the window and see other people, animations, living their life. Like, for real, that's how in depth I went. And I hope you guys like it. Comment below what you, if you're pumped, because I am. Join Debunkers Anonymous on Facebook. I love you guys. Oh, got a paranormal debunk coming soon you're gonna love. See you in the next video. Y'all come back now, you hear? Peace. What are you doing? Get out of here. Oh, I'm sorry.